Welcome to another episode of your favorite podcast, Sting of Time, where we watch the movie The Scorpion King 52 times in a row. This is watch 35. The 5 is on
35.
the other end.
You're in a new place now.
Yes. Which I hope doesn't have a big echo, but we'll see when I check out the sound file. There is no soundproofing up yet.
The proof is in the soundproofing, as the saying goes.
Yes.
This watch was a somewhat unique watch. There was a slight, I'm not going to say improvement, but there was a variance in how the movie was presented.
Do you want me to? Do you want my reaction to it, or do you want to describe first what we saw? Because you are the one who put the work in here.
Yes, I'm the one who, and if it can just state it for clarity that what we have just watched is a edited version of the movie, which I made with my great editing expertise and skill. I put together a let's say a alternate telling of the story in the Scorpion King, at least audibly. It was audibly varied.
You changed the entire audio track basically of the movie.
Yes, the audio track has been replaced with a lot of other long and small audio tracks in a row. And well, I'm not sure. I mean, would you like me to? This is exactly what you just asked, but well, I guess maybe I should ask for your reaction first because it was a very silent watch, because an unfathomably silent watch compared to what is usual in the land.
Yes.
So for once, one should have some material, actual material for the podcast, though that is no guarantee in itself. So what did you think about it? I guess in broad strokes.
Okay, in broad strokes. Well, I want to start by acknowledging the massive undertaking this was. The bravery to take on such a huge project without any know-how, the constitution to follow through, and yeah, good work.
That sounds a bit like the start of an like AA meeting thing. Like
yes.
I have the bravery to start the constitution.
Sure. And I can follow that up by saying that I think this might be one of the most exhausting things I've ever done in my life. I feel like I have just watched a 90-minute long YouTube poop from 2004. I have no idea if there was a plot.
Well, it is a bit. I think it might be, the underlying plot might be a bit too deep for the average viewer to absorb in merely one watch. Perhaps the underlying plot is more easily palpable when you spend several months staring at it again and again and again and
might
again.
be so.
Might also not be so. So all that might be made up.
I thought it had some key good moments. I think the standout one for me was Memnon, who was replaced by Thulsa Doom from Conan the Barbarian, telling Iswal from Diablo to look before he turned to the
look
camera.
Around you, and then he did. You did look around him.
That one was very good.
Do you feel like maybe if that was the only edited part of the movie, that it would you have you would have extracted the same amount of value out of it.
Yes, I'm sad. Well, maybe not. I don't know.
It's
I'm
one does not have to like the
yeah.
edit. One merely has to watch it if
Yeah.
they are part of this project.
Um, I will say that the movie felt unimaginably longer.
I felt it went by pretty quick.
Yes, but yeah, for you this is just another day. But it felt 4 hours long or something like that, which in this stage of the project of watching this movie over and over and over again, anything that makes the movie feel longer, I will objectively have to rate as bad. I think for my experience.
That is perfectly your prerogative.
Yes. But I have to say that the end of the movie, the final 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes maybe, really took me by surprise because it sort of became a mix between a YouTube poop and an AMV.
Yeah, there's a blending of the arts
Yes,
of the 24ian age,
very
one could
much.
say.
It felt very 2004, which I think is very
I said
interesting
2004ian age, not the
and kind of
24ian age.
cool in a way.
Well,
I did not understand the stylistic choice of having Thulsa Doom continuously loop the waterfall.
Well, the stylistic choice behind that was that, and I say this as both the director and the producer and the creative director and producer and writer, that the stylistic choice behind having Thulsa Doom's waterfall loop, aside from being a practical solution to what was deemed at the time to be an issue, that this can't just cut in and out all the time, an issue that was promptly discarded in all other avenues of the movie that was not Thulsa Doom's dialogue, ironically. I felt that it added to his character a sort of menacing factor, like he had this aura about him that even when he doesn't speak, you hear him. It's like it's like Conqueror's hockey in One Piece. It's just you can tell he's there because you start hearing the sound of water.
Yes.
This also echoes, or rather, this rhymes with the inclusion of selective Bloodborne soundtracks. Famously in Bloodborne, water plays a strong part. Some NPCs in Bloodborne, question the protagonist if they can hear the sound of water. And those of us who are watching this edit certainly can. We certainly can hear the sound of water in select scenes.
Yes, in select scenes. I have a hard time parsing the information, so maybe it's better if you have questions about things
Absolutely
in it. But I will say that one thing I really thought about a lot during watching this movie is that I don't think I've thought about Alcor as much as I have today for a very, very long time, and B, Alcor is a pretty fucking racist.
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
Caricature.
He is the way he was spawned, as we say in Sweden. That is the way he turned out. But I don't know, that I feel like that is not his fault. That is
no
a fault.
No, I did not say that Alcor was racist. I said
no,
he's
no,
a
no.
racist
No, I
caricature.
understand what you meant, but that is what I mean. That I feel that I still think Alcor is pretty good as an individual.
I think I might have. I might be out Alcor after this. This might have been the swan song for Alcor, which I guess
you will never hear Alcor again.
If you had to have a swan song, this is a pretty momentous one as compared to just hearing him speak again in Diablo 2.
How did you feel? I'm trying to think of questions to ask.
I really
but,
like the sorceress.
mm,
I would have to say. I think it was a marked improvement to her character. I think the rogue encampment bit was probably one of the highlights of the edit.
You mean the where she has said road camp, or do you mean what took place in the road camp?
The nighttime.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm looking for some rogue camp.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I felt like well, I'll save that for in a moment. I'll instead ask you, how did you feel about Armpit's character in the movie?
I think because okay, so you replaced him with both Tal Racha and the Wanderer.
One can say that Armpit initially might be believed to be Marius.
Yes.
In the edit.
Oh yeah, not the Wanderer. Sorry, Marius.
Exactly, but in fact, it is revealed throughout the story of the film that Armpit is his true identity is actually the cutscene audio of the entirety of Diablo 2. Yes. So he is all the characters that appear in a cutscene in Diablo 2.
But mostly Marius.
Mostly Marius, yes. Coincidentally, he is mostly the character that appears in cutscenes in Diablo 2.
I think the first bit of Marius sort of, and I feel like this was a bit of a recurring bit in the movie, characters rambling on and then being told to shut up or dying.
Mostly Marius.
It's mostly Marius,
yes.
but also.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. You're talking about Bale.
Bale, but also the mercenary guy from Act 5. He also had sort of that deal going on, where he just kind of went on. But with Marius, I did find it funny, but I think I almost like as the laugh was coming up out of me, I also realized, oh no, is he just gonna be this for the rest of the movie?
A perilous, yes. a perilous joy, so to say. How did you feel about, or well, I guess you can probably identify at least two of the prime evils from having watched the movie.
Yes, the fat one was Bale.
Yes, that's true.
Who was slain almost instantaneously. And Tutu was Mephisto.
Hatred itself.
Yes. I don't think I caught any Diabloings.
No, in fact, Diablo does not appear in the Diablo 2 edit. However, one could argue that perhaps the spirit of Diablo might be present in Dwayne's character somewhere, because Dwayne, or rather the barbarian, as is his obvious role in this edited version, I found, as any great creative, sometimes a story might unravel itself before you as you are, as it is in the process of being created. And the original concept in the writing room was that the barbarian would eventually be revealed, which some elements of this are kept
to be the Wanderer.
No, rather to be revealed to be the receptacle of Kulei's ashes, and that Kulei, the great wizard of yore, was had stored his ashes in a strange statuette known as Dwayne the Rock Johnson. This is still, this is still an interpretation I feel one can make that this is the case.
Absolutely.
Considering the reaction of the harlots in the market, The sorceress refers to him as the receptacle many times. The paladin, in the beginning, is the first one to point out that this is the receptacle of Kulei's ashes. But sometime I feel like around the rogue camp segment, or rather towards the end of the rogue camp segment, I feel like maybe something ethereal or perhaps even infernal starts coming over both the barbarian and the sorceress, and that they maybe there was, as you know, how because the rogue camp is Mephisto's prison, which is what the sorceress sees in her vision early in the movie, and Mephisto does end up in the rogue camp. So this is, further proof that the sorceress can properly foresee the future. And I feel that the paladin might have had the right of it, as he speaks with the barbarian and the sorceress in the rogue camp, and he says that, surely the evil here has driven you mad. This must be the product of a twisted mind, as the camera pans to the sorceress. The implication that was the sorceress actually evil all along is something that has been theorized in these lands before. And I felt that that sort of plotline was starting to unravel before that this might be a representation of our theory that the sorceress was evil all along. She refers to herself as the evil queen many times in the edit, and I feel that she senses the potential of evil in the barbarian, because the barbarian is shown to not be a very charitable guy. He takes on a mission early in the movie, gets paid handsomely, completely ignores the mission. He leaves. He just takes the reward and leaves. He wants to go back to Charcy. Has nothing else going on. He hates his brother, the Deckard Cain. Laughs. He's thankful to the villain when he dies. He's all around. Not a great guy. He doesn't seem to have a lot of good in him. And I felt that that is something that kind of resonates throughout the entire movie, and then it culminates in the end when the sorceress, like in the epilogue, they have shed even pretending to be good. So they send the paladin away. We technically save the temple, but we will instead now fill it with our own corruption. They speak hatefully of the paladin. The sorceress, now convinced the barbarian is fully turned to evil, lures him in with the temptation of more demonic power. You must follow me to your fate. And the barbarian, wistfully ignorant of what this sort of contract might actually entail, it is revealed post epilogue what such a fate led to, and that is why the movie is called Evil Beware. Because
I have to say that as the story unraveled itself to you and resonated on several different levels, none of it unraveled to me. It stayed raveled.
That is completely fine.
But I've only seen it once. I'm only a dabbler in this sort of Art Nouveau film school. So
all great art is open to interpretation.
Yes, and all great art, as they say, is presents itself as a wall, an incomprehensible wall that the layman cannot peer beyond.
The layman cannot interpret that which it deems incomprehensible.
Yes,
such is the fate of the layman.
Yes.
I'm thinking of what else I can ask you. How did you feel about the future vision showing the death of the barbarian when she touches sorceress touches
I can't
the barbarian?
remember. It was some music stuff.
Yeah. Well, if you can't remember it, then it's hard for you
No, I
to
can't remember what track was played.
The track that was played was Virgil's theme from Devil
Oh
May Cry
yeah,
5.
yeah. Well, I thought that was all fine and dandy. I also liked the implication because then it played in the future as well.
The
And
future refused to change.
yes, and I like the implication that it was Thulsa Doom singing it. He turned off his water and turned on his beautiful voice and the instrumentals.
Thulsa Doom's voice is a mighty instrument, quite literally. So
I did quite enjoy Takmet being Isuel. Because as much okay, I'm not gonna try to delve beyond the in or comprehensible door, but I do feel like even in my addled state of confusion, Isuel's inclusion in this movie, or even if you included him in the Scorpion King, the normal one, would make about as much sense as Takmet's does in the original edit.
Well, did you feel that Isuel was miscast in the movie?
No. No, I just mean in terms of him having perhaps a somewhat experimental character arc as a movie goes.
Yes. One might bear mention that you didn't you knew that this edit existed.
Yes.
For a long time before you watched it, and you knew that it featured Diablo 2 elements.
Yes, I'm going to stop you right here. And I'm going to share with the audience all
yes, I know
three
you
of
are,
them.
and I will not stop you.
That I did not want to know what this movie was gonna be. This edit, or well, specifically, it was a secret, and I'm really good at not prying into secrets. I'm amazing at it, one could say. It's one of my many talents. But you are horrible at not enthusiastically wanting to share secrets, which I find extremely annoying because I want you to either say it or not. There is no in between. And there was maybe a 2-week period where there was sort of I'm cooking up something good. Oh, you want to know what I'm cooking up? And I had to go, no, I don't want to know what you're cooking up. Well, all right. And then at certain points, there'd be literally a 4-second gap. And then you'd go, well, maybe I should tell you what I'm cooking up. But it all turned out well. So I can't complain now. I could complain then, but I won't.
Yes.
Anymore.
The time for complaining has passed.
Yes.
But I was going to ask you, because of the fact that you knew it had Diablo 2 elements, how do you, and I'm sure you never reflected over this, but
no,
maybe
not.
but you can speed reflect over it now.
Yes.
Did the casting fit, maybe, if you had any preconception about who would be who? Thulsa Doom, of course, being somewhat of a wild card.
Yes, exactly.
But I had mentioned that at least one character was not from Diablo 2, even though I'm sure you have forgotten that.
Also, wasn't Chessman was Quan Chi, so that's
Quan Chi from Mortal Kombat.
I'll say that's perfect casting. I think you nailed that 100%.
It was interesting.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Speaking of Quan Chi, it was very interesting doing Quan Chi's scenes, because Quan Chi, and this is Quan Chi from Mortal Kombat 10 specifically.
Yeah, it's funny. You didn't pick his Quan Chi.
Exactly.
You picked another Quan Chi, which
Well,
I think...
yeah, exactly, because I am the director.
Yes.
But I was gonna say it was interesting because Quan Chi from Mortal Kombat 10 I think has more dialogue than the entirety of Diablo 2 as a game,
Yeah.
including like sound effects, music, cutscenes, everything. Like because in the process of making this, I mean, you understand how I made it. Like
Yeah.
so like, oh, you have the barbarian and the sorceress and like all that kind of stuff. Uh, and you can imagine like, oh, you put the file on the timeline and it's it's this long or whatever. Then you have Quan Chi who's like, it just goes like it's longer than the movie. It's stupid. So it was extremely difficult to like what is Quan Chi going to say, because one, there were a lot of options for what to pick, and also B, I did not want to sit and listen through all of Quan Chi's
Yeah.
dialogue every single time I had to like that sort of thing. So that was interesting. How did you think
I think I'm in the middle of
exactly,
answering a question about your
answer the
casting.
question.
Barbarian, I'll give you an A+ for that. Absolutely. Sorceress, that's a shoe-in.
A given.
Armpit as the Diablo 2 cutscene sound is a bit of a wild card. But I'll give it a B, middle of the road ranking. Brother as Deckard Cain is, I think it's a very understandable casting. I wish you wouldn't have had him rap.
If you can believe it, I specifically put that in to annoy you, because I realized when I was going through Deckard Cain style, because I basically had halfway through that he was saying other stuff. It was just regular dialogue, and then I figured like, couldn't you make it that Dwayne was actually really angry with Deckard Cain here, like he's and then I was like, what am I going to put there? And then it sparked in my memory, isn't there this really weird cringe song that the voice actor Deckard Cain did as an Easter egg in Diablo 2, because I think the song is like on the CD or something, like you can play it on the CD of Diablo 2 if it's like an audio file on CD secretly. And I immediately, ruthlessly just deleted the stuff I had made. I just put the song. It's like, this is better. So yes.
Dates Boy as Necromancer. I'm gonna have to give you a failing grade for that, but it's hard to find a place for the Necromancer.
Yes, it's hard to find a place, and I'll tell you that the Necromancer, if I had not given him to the Dates Boy, he would not have been in the movie.
Yeah,
because
but
there was no.
That might have been preferable.
Yes, perhaps, but now
we'll never know. What's done is done. I will not. I won't say you couldn't do it. It is within your right. I am merely rating the performance, I suppose. Philos' Alcor is, I think it works, but it is clearly a downgrade on the character, but it is hard to compete with
that's absolutely
Theoden
true.
King.
It's for your information, I'll tell you that in the prototype stage of this edit, that is before Philos had appeared in the progress of the edit, he was Theoden. I had intended to make him just Theoden and have sample voice lines from Lord of the Rings, but ironically, at a certain point, I decided that no, I should stick to Diablo 2 characters, and then I made 2 other characters, not Diablo 2 anyway. So Theoden was lost, like Tears in the Rain.
I'll rate the camel as a secret cow, solid A as well. I think it works well. At times, maybe it doesn't work perfectly, but at other times, it works super well. Iswell, of course, I already said was great. Paladin, fine, B+ on that. Kind of hard. It doesn't have that many cool lines.
Yes, and the Paladin quite correctly does not have that many cool lines, and he also seems to have a lot less lines than the other. And by lines, I mean, you know, like grunts, sounds, that sort of thing. Barbarian, of course, has the benefit of having shouts as well, which can double like a lot of things. But the Paladin has like 4 grunts, and I found it shocking. I tell you that this was the case. I was flabbergasted.
Yeah, Thoughts of Doom. I think very fun on paper. Probably not enough there for a character like Memnon.
It might. We very recently watched Conan the Barbarian in these lands as well. When we watched Conan, I was kind of starting to think of it. Some parts in it that, oh wait, like you know that I kind of realized that, this is kind of gonna put, you know, Thul's Doom very freshly in one's mind, which might have diminished somewhat the effect of
Thul's Doom is a great character, so it's hard to not diminish him by chopping him up.
Yes.
I think I'll.
What did you think about Tyrael?
That entire. I think the start of the movie.
You deleted.
It was too much for me. There was too many voices talking over each other, and the fact that he just kept on talking off screen.
I like how, you know, Geed is trying to get a word in with Tyrael, and Tyrael just keeps talking like while staring at him, and Geed kind of, you know, recedes a bit, like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, like I quite like that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go cook dinner. I think. I think that's the timeline of my life now. I will commend you for your massive effort and your grand adventurous undertaking.
How do you feel about the potential prospect that you might have to watch this again with a guest?
This edit?
Yes. I think maybe we should watch it with with Emil.
I'll have to do it in a while, I think. Because I'm not doing this again right away. No fucking way. Sorry to say, but I'm not doing that. I have to say that I would rather watch The Scorpion King.
How would you say to our viewers, as we wrap this up, would you recommend they watch the edit in any way or form at all? Anyhow,
I think you could chop it up, pick out some key highlights, and I think that would be an enjoyable experience. But then again, there are lots of Zoomers out there who I think could watch 90 minutes of YouTube poop without their brain melting. So for them, I would definitely recommend the Oskar edit. The evil beware.
If you're a Zoomer, then
be a consumer.